Hello, my name is Lily. I want to share a beautiful story with you today. Please listen to it completely because it will touch your heart and make you feel the power of love. It will make you think about the little things that truly matter in life. I promise it will be worth your time. There was once a boy named Sam. He was 20 years old, tall and kind-hearted. Sam lived in a small town by the sea. His days were simple. He would wake up early, ride his bicycle to the bakery where he worked, and spend hours making bread and cakes. He enjoyed his work, but there was always a strange emptiness in his heart. It was as if something was missing, but he didn't know what. One evening, after work, Sam decided to take a walk along the beach. The sun was setting, painting the sky with orange and pink colors. The waves were gentle, rolling softly against the shore. Sam took off his shoes and walked on the cold, wet sand. The breeze kissed his face, and for a moment, he felt peaceful as he walked. He noticed a girl sitting alone near the water. She wore a light blue dress, and her long brown hair flowed with the wind. She was drawing shapes in the sand with her finger. Her eyes looked sad. Sam didn't know why, but he felt a strong pull in his heart. He slowly walked over to her, double quotes high. He said softly. The girl looked up. Her eyes were a soft shade of hazel, and there was a glimmer of sadness in them. But when she smiled, it was gentle and warm. "Hello," she replied, her voice as soft as a whisper. Sam sat down beside her. They didn't speak at first. They just stared at the waves together. Sometimes words are not needed. Sometimes silence says everything. After a while, Sam finally asked, "Are you okay?" The girl smiled faintly. "I come here when I feel lost. The sea listens without asking questions." Sam nodded. He understood that feeling. "My name is Sam," he said. She turned toward him and replied, "I'm Emily." They talked for hours that evening. Emily told Sam that she loved painting, but she hadn't painted in a long time. She said she was afraid her paintings were not good enough, so she stopped. She didn't want anyone to judge her. Sam listened carefully. He didn't try to give her advice. He just let her speak as the stars appeared in the sky. Emily suddenly laughed softly. "You're the first person I've talked to like this in a long time," she said as Sam smiled. "I'm glad I met you," he replied honestly. From that night, they started meeting by the beach every evening. They would sit on the sand, talk, and sometimes say nothing at all. Sam found himself looking forward to their time together. Emily would sometimes bring her sketchbook. She slowly started drawing again. She would sketch the sea, the birds, and sometimes she secretly drew Sam when he wasn't looking. One evening, as they sat side by side, Sam gently took Emily's hand. She didn't pull away. Instead, she smiled softly and rested her head on his shoulder. At that moment, everything felt perfect. The waves, the stars, and the two of them everything was right. As weeks passed, Sam realized he was falling in love, but he was afraid to tell Emily. What if she didn't feel the same? What if he lost her? One evening, as the sun dipped into the sea, Emily stood up suddenly. Her eyes were filled with tears. "I have to tell you something," she said, her voice shaking slightly. Sam's heart sank. He feared she would say goodbye. "I'm leaving tomorrow," Emily whispered, looking at the waves. "I'm moving to another city. My father found a new job, and we have to go." Sam felt as though the world had stopped. His hands felt cold, and his chest ached. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" he asked, his voice barely audible. "I didn't want to ruin the time we had," Emily replied, tears falling down her cheeks. "I didn't want to think about leaving. I wanted to pretend I could stay." Sam stood there, silent. He didn't know what to say. He didn't want her to go. Finally, he took her hands in his. "Emily," he whispered, "I don't care how far you go. I will find you. I will come to you. I love you." Her eyes widened. She stared at him for a moment. Then she threw her arms around him, sobbing into his chest. "I love you too," she whispered. They held each other tightly, afraid to let go. The stars above them seemed to shine brighter that night. The next morning, Emily left. Sam stood by the beach, watching her car disappear. He felt as though a part of him was driving away with her. But he didn't cry. Instead, he held on to hope. For weeks, Sam wrote letters to Emily, long letters, telling her about his day, about the sea, about how much he missed her. He told her about the flowers blooming by the bakery and the children playing on the beach. He waited every day for her letters, and when they arrived, he read them over and over again. Time passed. Months turned into a year. One day, Emily wrote a letter with a short message. "I miss you. Come to me." Sam didn't wait. He packed a small bag and took the first bus to Emily's city. It was a long journey, but he didn't feel tired. His heart was beating with excitement. When he arrived, Emily was waiting at the bus stop. She wore a white dress, and her hair was tied in a loose braid. When she saw him, she ran into his arms. They didn't speak. They just held each other. That evening, Emily took Sam's hand and led him to a small room in her house. On the wall, there were dozens of paintings. Some were of the sea, some of the sunset, but the most beautiful ones were of him. "You inspired me," Emily said softly. "You made me believe in myself again." Sam's eyes filled with tears. He gently kissed her forehead. From that day on, they were inseparable. They built a life together filled with love and dreams. Emily became a famous artist, and Sam opened his own bakery by the sea. They were happy, not because they were perfect, but because they loved each other despite their flaws. And every evening, they would walk by the beach, just like they did when they first met, Because sometimes love is not about grand gestures or perfect moments. It is about holding someone's hand, walking beside them, and knowing that no matter where life takes you, you are never alone. If you enjoyed this story and it touched your heart, please like and subscribe. It encourages me to share more beautiful and meaningful stories with you. Thank you for listening. As the seasons changed, so did I. Summer turned into autumn, and the trees in Grandma's backyard dressed themselves in golden and crimson leaves. The once green grass turned into a soft carpet of amber. I would sit on the old swing, watching the leaves fall like tiny whispers from the sky. Sometimes I imagined each leaf carried a message from Grandma, a gentle reminder that she was still with me. In every season, in every change. One afternoon, as the sun dipped low, painting the sky with shades of copper and violet, I sat on the swing and pulled out the locket. I held it between my fingers, letting it catch the last light of the day. I traced the delicate edges with my thumb, remembering how Grandma's hands once did the same. The breeze was crisp and cool, carrying the faint scent of wood smoke from a nearby chimney. I closed my eyes and whispered, "I miss you." And in that stillness, I felt it again, the soft touch of the wind against my cheek, as though it were her hand brushing my hair away from my face the way she used to. My heart filled with warmth, a strange mixture of sorrow and comfort all at once. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I stood and walked toward the edge of the yard. There, right beside the old oak tree, was a patch of wild flowers, the same ones Grandma used to love. They were small and delicate, in shades of lilac, white, and pale yellow. I knelt beside them and gently ran my fingers over their petals. "You're still here," I whispered, my voice barely louder than the evening wind. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling once again. The house was quiet, but it no longer felt lonely. It felt peaceful. I clutched the locket to my chest, and before I drifted off to sleep, I whispered, "Good night, Grandma." The following weeks passed slowly but gently. I started visiting the park more often. The elderly man was always there, feeding the birds. We started talking regularly. His name was Henry, and he had been visiting the park every day for nearly 10 years since the day his wife, Margaret, had passed. "She loved this place," he said one afternoon, tossing a handful of seeds onto the ground. The sparrows and pigeons gathered eagerly. "I bring her flowers sometimes, just small ones, daisies mostly. She always liked the simple ones best." I smiled faintly, thinking of Grandma and her love for wildflowers. "You must have loved her a lot," I said softly. Henry smiled, but his eyes were distant, lost in a memory only he could see. "Oh, I still do," he replied with a gentle nod. "Love doesn't stop just because someone is gone. It just changes shape." His words stayed with me, echoing in my heart long after I left the park. That evening, I went to Grandma's old room. It still smelled faintly of lavender, just like it did when she was there. I sat on her bed and opened the old wooden trunk once again. This time, I went through the letters slowly, carefully, one by one. I smiled at the sweet words my grandfather had written to her. I could almost hear his voice in the letters, the longing, the tenderness, the unwavering love. And then, beneath the stack of letters, I found something I had never seen before, a small, hand-sewn cloth pouch. It was tied with a thin, fraying blue ribbon. My hands trembled slightly as I untied the knot. Inside the pouch was a folded piece of paper and a small dried wildflower, faded and delicate, but still whole. I carefully opened the letter. In my grandmother's neat, flowing handwriting, it read, "To my dearest Lily, if you are reading this, it means I am no longer by your side. But don't be sad, my love, because I am never truly far away. I will always be in the music you play, in the flowers you stop to admire, in the stars you watch at night. I will be in your laughter and in your tears. I want you to promise me something. When you miss me, don't be afraid to live. Don't let sorrow keep you from dancing or from chasing the things that bring you joy. Remember me with smiles, not with sadness. And, my darling, when you love with all your heart, be kind, be brave, and never hold back. I love you forever and beyond. Grandma." Tears spilled onto the paper as I pressed it to my chest. I sat there on her bed. The letter crumpled gently in my hand, feeling her presence in every word. At that moment, I made her a silent promise. I would carry her love with me. I would live with joy, with kindness, with courage, because that was how she had loved me. The next morning, I walked to the park, holding the letter tightly in my hand. The sky was overcast, and a gentle drizzle fell, coating the world in a soft, silver haze. I found Henry sitting on the same bench, feeding the birds. Without saying a word, I sat beside him. After a few moments, I opened the letter and handed it to him. He took it carefully, his old, weathered hands trembling slightly. He read it slowly, pausing every now and then as if he were letting each word settle into his soul. When he finished, he wiped a tear from his eye and looked at me with the softest smile I had ever seen. "Your grandmother was a remarkable woman," he whispered. I nodded, unable to speak. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small, leather-bound notebook. He opened it to the first page and showed it to me. In neat, faded handwriting, it read, "To my dearest Henry, if you ever feel alone, remember I am only a heartbeat away. I am in the wind that brushes your cheek, in the sun that warms your face. I will always be with you. Forever yours, Margaret." We sat there in silence for a long time, holding the words of our loved ones between us. And in that moment, we weren't strangers anymore. We were two souls carrying the same kind of love, the kind that never leaves, the kind that becomes part of who you are. That day, as I walked home, I felt lighter. My steps were softer, my breath easier. I stopped by Grandma's backyard and picked a few of the wildflowers. I pressed them between the pages of a notebook, just as she once did. And every night after that, I wore the locket close to my heart. I whispered goodnight to Grandma, knowing she was somewhere out there, dancing with Grandpa beneath a sky full of stars. And even now, whenever the wind brushes my cheek or the scent of jasmine drifts through the air, I smile, because I know she is with me in every breath, in every sunrise, in every song. And she always will be. If you've made it this far, thank you for staying with me through this story. If it touched your heart, please subscribe and leave a like. Your support means so much and helps me share more beautiful, meaningful stories with you. And remember, love never truly leaves. It simply finds a new way to stay.